The military base stood silent under the evening sky. The air carried the smell of dust and metal. Inside a small cell, a soldier named Ravi sat on a wooden bench with his head resting on his hands. He had once been a man full of pride and honor, but now he was a prisoner waiting for his last day. His uniform, once bright and respected, was now torn and dull. The sound of footsteps and the clinking of keys reminded him that he was no longer free. Ravi had served the army for many years. He was a loyal soldier who never questioned his duty. But his most trusted partner was not a man. It was a K-9 named Leo. The two were known as the best search team in their unit. They had saved lives during missions, detected hidden explosives, and protected their fellow soldiers many times. Every soldier in the base respected them. Ravi used to say that Leo was not a dog, but a brother in uniform. Their bond was built through years of training and trust. One evening, their unit received an order to move toward a border village. The area was under threat, and there were reports of planted explosives. Ravi and Leo were asked to lead the team. The night was dark, and the air was full of tension. Ravi moved carefully with Leo beside him, scanning the ground for danger. Suddenly, Leo stopped and started barking softly, a sign he had found something. Ravi raised his hand to signal the team to stay back. But before he could act, a loud explosion shook the ground. Flames rose high, and 2 soldiers were injured. When the smoke cleared, chaos followed. The commanding officer accused Ravi of giving a wrong signal. Ravi tried to explain that Leo had sensed a hidden mine, but no one listened. The report claimed Ravi's carelessness caused the blast. He was shocked and speechless. The evidence was against him. Someone in the unit had changed the report, hiding the real reason. Within days, Ravi was charged with negligence and treason. The military court was quick to decide. They said he had betrayed orders. Ravi was sentenced to death. The judgment broke him from the inside. He sat in his cell, his mind full of memories of missions with Leo. He remembered how the dog would jump in excitement every morning, ready to train, ready to serve. Now Leo was kept in the kennel far away, unaware that his partner was about to die. One night, a young guard named Adil came to deliver food. He was new to the army and had heard stories of Ravi's bravery. He had also heard about the day of the explosion and how many believed Ravi was innocent. Adil stood quietly by the door and said in a low voice, "Sir, people say you were one of the best. I do not believe you were guilty." Ravi looked up slowly. His eyes were tired but calm. "Thank you, son. I served this country with all my heart. I never failed in my duty, but sometimes truth is lost when power speaks louder." Adil nodded. He felt sorry for the man behind the bars. "Sir, is there anything I can do for you?" he asked softly. Ravi hesitated and then spoke with a trembling voice. "Yes, there is one thing. I want to see Leo one last time before I die. He is my family. I want to say goodbye." Adil was silent for a moment. He knew it was not allowed. The commander would never permit it. "It will be difficult, sir. The orders are strict," he said. "I understand," Ravi replied. "But if you can find a way, I will die with peace." That night, Adil could not sleep. The words of the old soldier stayed in his mind. He knew it was wrong to break the rules, but his heart told him it was right. In the quiet hours before dawn, he made a plan. He would bring Leo to Ravi, even if it cost him his job. The next evening, Adil waited until most officers had gone to rest. The base was silent except for the sound of night guards. He walked toward the kennel area where Leo was kept. The dog was lying quietly but lifted his head when he saw Adil. His tail wagged, and he made a low sound as if asking where Ravi was. Adil knelt beside him and whispered, "Come on, boy. You have to meet someone special tonight." Leo followed him obediently, his paws moving softly on the ground. The moonlight guided them toward the prison cell. When they reached it, Adil unlocked the gate carefully. Ravi was sitting inside, his eyes half closed. He looked up when he heard a familiar sound. For a second, he thought he was dreaming. "Leo," he whispered. The dog ran straight to him and jumped into his arms. Ravi held him tightly, tears filling his eyes. "You came, my brave one," he said. Leo licked his face, whined softly, and pressed his head against Ravi's chest. Adil stepped back and watched the scene silently. The bond between man and dog was strong, stronger than any law or rank. Ravi spoke to Leo gently. "They said I failed, but you know the truth. You were there. You saw what happened. I followed my duty till the end." Leo sat quietly, listening to his master's voice as if he understood every word. The room felt warm with love and pain mixed together. Adil felt his throat tighten. He had broken the rules, but seeing Ravi smile for the first time made it worth it. Ravi patted Leo's head and said, "You were the best partner I could ever have. You never gave up on me. Promise me you will live strong." Leo looked at him with calm, loyal eyes. Ravi knew the dog could sense his sorrow. The moment was silent, filled with emotion and unspoken words. Outside, the wind blew softly through the trees. The night was almost over. Adil whispered, "Sir, we must go before the guards change shift." Ravi nodded, though his heart did not want to let go. He hugged Leo one last time and kissed his head. "Goodbye, my friend. You made my life worth living." He stepped back slowly and Leo whined, refusing to move. Adil had to call him gently. The dog finally turned away, looking back again and again. As they walked out, Ravi whispered a prayer. "If there is justice beyond this life, let it find me." He sat down again, his eyes fixed on the small window where the first light of morning was starting to appear. When Adil returned Leo to the kennel, the dog sat by the gate staring into the distance. He did not lie down. He waited as if he knew his master needed him. Adil stood there quietly, guilt and sadness filling his heart. He knew that by sunrise Ravi would face his fate. At dawn, the camp woke to the sound of orders and marching. The officer in charge prepared for the execution. The sun rose, painting the sky with red and gold. Inside the cell, Ravi took a deep breath and whispered one last time, "Goodbye, Leo." His words were soft but full of peace. Far away in the kennel, Leo suddenly stood up and began to bark loudly, howling toward the morning sky. The soldiers nearby were surprised, but Adil understood. The bond between a man and his dog was something even death could not break, and that was only the beginning of what fate still had planned. The morning was calm, but there was a strange silence over the base. Soldiers moved quietly, avoiding eye contact. Everyone knew that today a brave man would face his last moment. Ravi had been respected by many, and though the court had judged him guilty, most of the younger soldiers doubted it. They had seen how loyal and disciplined he was. But in the army, orders were orders, and no one could question them. Inside his small cell, Ravi sat straight with his uniform cleaned and pressed. He had refused help from anyone. His face showed no fear. His eyes were calm, but deep inside his heart was heavy. He had accepted his fate, yet a small part of him still hoped for truth to come out. He thought of Leo again, remembering the warmth of his fur, the way his tail wagged, and the love in his eyes. That short meeting had given him peace. He felt thankful to Adil for risking his career just to grant him that last moment. The sound of boots echoed in the corridor. The door opened and an officer entered. His name was Major Armin. He looked serious but respectful. "Ravi," he said, "the time has come. Do you have any last words you wish to record?" Ravi stood and saluted. "No, sir," he said quietly. "Only that I serve this country with honesty and will leave with the same loyalty." Major Armin nodded slowly. "Very well," he replied. "You are one of the best. I hope your soul finds peace." 2 guards came to escort him. Adil was one of them. His hands were shaking slightly, though he tried to hide it. Ravi smiled gently at him. "Do not be sad, Adil. You did what was right. You gave me a gift no one else could." Adil lowered his head. "Sir, I wish I could do more. I wish I could stop this." Ravi shook his head. "No one can stop fate. But remember, truth never dies. Someday someone will know." The walk to the yard felt long. The rising sun painted the sky orange, and a cool breeze moved through the camp. Soldiers lined up quietly, their eyes filled with respect. Ravi walked with steady steps, holding his head high. He was not afraid. He looked like a man walking toward duty, not death. In the distance, Leo sat in his kennel, restless and uneasy. He had not eaten since last night. His sharp senses told him something was wrong. He began to scratch the door, whining loudly. The caretaker tried to calm him, but Leo pulled harder, refusing to stay still. His heart seemed to know that his master was in danger. At the execution ground, a wooden post stood in the center. Ravi was tied there, his back straight. The firing squad took position. Major Armin raised his hand, signaling for silence. The officer in charge read the final statement aloud. The words sounded heavy and cold, but Ravi did not listen. His mind was far away, remembering his missions, his friends, and the laughter he shared with Leo during training. Adil stood to the side, unable to hold his tears. He clenched his fists, his eyes fixed on Ravi. He could not believe that an innocent man was about to die. The order was about to be given when suddenly, a loud bark echoed from the other side of the camp. Every head turned. Leo had escaped. He ran at full speed toward the yard, his paws hitting the ground like thunder. The guards shouted and tried to stop him, but the dog was too fast. He jumped over barriers and passed between soldiers. His eyes were wild, filled with fear and determination. He reached the yard just as Major Armin raised his hand for the command. Ravi turned his head and saw Leo running toward him. His heart stopped for a moment. "Leo!" he shouted. The dog leaped forward, knocking down one of the guards. Soldiers tried to grab him, but Leo growled and barked, refusing to stop. He reached Ravi and pressed his head against his legs, whining loudly. The scene froze. No one moved. Major Armin lowered his hand, his face full of surprise. "What is this?" he asked sharply. Adil stepped forward. "Sir, this is his K9 partner. They served together for years. The dog must have sensed something." The soldiers looked at each other. Some of them began whispering. Even the officers seemed unsure of what to do. Ravi looked down at Leo and smiled sadly. "You should not have come, my friend," he said softly. Leo refused to move, standing between Ravi and the soldiers with his body tense, ready to protect him. The major sighed. "Remove the animal. Continue the order." 2 men stepped forward to take Leo away, but as soon as they touched him, Leo growled fiercely. He stood firm, his eyes fixed on anyone who came near. The men hesitated. They knew what a trained K9 could do when threatened. The major gave another order, but no one dared to act. The situation had turned emotional. Even the firing squad lowered their weapons slightly. Adil suddenly spoke. "Sir, please wait. Let me speak." The major looked at him in frustration, but allowed it. Adil turned toward the crowd. "This man saved lives. He never betrayed anyone. I was there when he begged to see his partner one last time. Look at how this dog protects him. Animals sense truth better than we do. If this man was guilty, would his K9 be standing here guarding him?" The soldiers murmured among themselves. They had seen loyalty, but nothing like this. The major frowned but did not interrupt. Adil continued. "Sir, before we carry out this order, please recheck the report. I am begging you. Give him one last chance." Major Armin hesitated. He had served long enough to understand that sometimes mistakes happen. He turned to the officer beside him. "Bring the file," he ordered. While the papers were being brought, Leo sat quietly beside Ravi, still alert. Ravi placed his hand on the dog's head. "You never gave up on me," he whispered. His eyes glistened with tears, but his voice stayed calm. The officer returned with the file. Major Armin opened it and began to read. His expression changed as he went through the pages. There were strange markings and signatures that did not match. He frowned deeply. "Who signed this report?" he asked sharply. The other officers looked confused. One of them replied, "Sir, it was approved by Captain Malik." Major Armin's eyes narrowed. Captain Malik was not present at the mission. How could he sign this? He turned to Adil. "Get me the original radio log from that night." Adil ran to the office and returned quickly with the logbook. The major checked it and his face turned pale. The signal was correct. The explosion happened after Ravi warned the team to stop. He was not at fault, the crowd gasped. Ravi closed his eyes, feeling a wave of emotion. After all the pain, the truth was finally shining. Major Armin turned toward the firing squad. "Cancel the execution immediately. This man is innocent." Adil's face lit up. The soldiers cheered quietly, relieved that justice had been found. Leo barked joyfully, jumping around Ravi. The ropes were cut and Ravi was free. Adil ran to him and saluted. "Sir, you are free." Ravi smiled, tears running down his face. "You saved me, Adil. You and Leo both." Major Armin ordered an investigation into the false report. Captain Malik, who had tried to cover his own mistake, was arrested. The officers who had supported the false claim were questioned. The truth was now clear for all to see. Ravi walked toward the kennel with Leo beside him. He knelt down and hugged his partner. "We did it, my friend. We can live again." Leo licked his face and wagged his tail, happy to be with his master again. The sun was now high in the sky, shining brightly over the base. Soldiers saluted Ravi as he passed. The man who was once called guilty now walked free, his name cleared and his honor restored. Yet deep inside, he knew that fate had more in store for him and Leo, and peace might not last for long. The news of Ravi's innocence spread quickly through the camp. Every soldier who had once saluted him now did so with even greater respect. The story of how his K9, Leo, had saved him became a symbol of loyalty and truth. Even the commander who had once signed his sentence now looked at him with guilt and shame. The man they had almost killed had returned stronger than ever, his honor shining brighter than before. Ravi stood in the center of the parade ground holding Leo's leash. The morning sun glowed softly on his face. Major Arman approached him with a respectful salute. "Ravi, I'm sorry for what happened. The system failed you. You were loyal when others were not." Ravi saluted back. "Sir, I have no anger. I only wish that no soldier faces such a mistake again. We serve for justice, not for blame." Adil stood nearby, smiling proudly. He had risked his life and career, but his heart was full of peace. Ravi placed his hand on Adil's shoulder. "You have courage, son. Never lose it. You stood for what was right when others stayed silent." Leo barked softly, wagging his tail. The dog seemed to feel the happiness around him. The soldiers cheered and clapped, welcoming Ravi back among them. But deep in his heart, Ravi knew this victory came at a cost. Trust once broken was hard to rebuild. He had seen how lies could destroy a man's life in a moment. A few days later, Ravi and Leo were called to the commander's office. The commander, now a humbled man, stood up when they entered. "Ravi, the higher council has cleared all charges against you. You are free to leave service if you wish, or you can rejoin the force. The choice is yours." Ravi thought for a moment. He looked at Leo, who sat calmly by his side. "Sir, I will continue to serve. I joined this uniform to protect people." "That has not changed." The commander smiled with relief. "Good. We are proud to have you back. There is a mission coming soon. You and Leo will lead it." Ravi nodded. "We are ready, sir." Adil was also assigned to the mission as part of the communication team. The three of them spent the next week preparing. The mission was to clear a deserted area near the mountain border, where enemy traps were suspected. It was dangerous but important. Ravi trusted Leo completely. The dog had never failed him. The night before leaving, Ravi sat beside Leo under the stars. "We have been given another chance, my friend," he said softly. "Maybe this time we can bring peace." Leo rested his head on Ravi's leg, his eyes shining in the starlight. The bond between them felt stronger than ever. The next morning, the team moved out in armored trucks. The road was narrow and rough. Wind carried dust into the air, making it hard to see. Ravi led the front vehicle with Leo beside him. Adil sat behind the radio, checking signals and coordinates. The mission was silent for hours. Every soldier was alert, ready for danger. As they entered a valley surrounded by tall rocks, Ravi raised his hand, signaling the team to slow down. Leo's ears twitched. The dog sniffed the air and started to growl softly. Ravi stopped the truck. "Everyone stay alert. Leo senses something," he said. The soldiers spread out carefully. Leo walked forward, nose close to the ground. Suddenly he barked once and scratched the dirt. Ravi moved closer and saw a hidden wire buried under stones. "It is a mine," he said firmly. Adil's eyes widened. "How many more do you think are here, sir?" Ravi scanned the area. "Too many. Someone has planted them carefully. This place is a trap." He called for the bomb squad and they began to clear the mines. Hours passed as Leo guided them, finding one trap after another. His sharp instincts saved the team from several close calls. By the end of the day, they had disarmed more than 10 explosive devices. The commander on the radio praised them for their success. When the sun began to set, the soldiers set up camp. Everyone was tired but proud. Ravi sat beside the fire with Adil, sipping water from a canteen. "You did well today," Ravi said. "Without you, we would not have reached this far safely." Adil smiled. "Sir, it is all Leo. He deserves the credit." Ravi looked at his K9 lying calmly by the fire, eyes half closed. "Yes, he does. He has saved more lives than any of us." As night deepened, the valley grew quiet. Only the sound of wind passing through rocks could be heard. Suddenly, Leo lifted his head. His ears stood up and he began to growl again. Ravi immediately stood. "What is it, boy?" Leo moved toward the dark slope nearby. Ravi followed with his rifle ready. Adil and 2 soldiers joined him. They moved slowly, eyes scanning the shadows. Then a faint light flashed from the cliff. Ravi shouted, "Get down!" A bullet hit the ground near his foot. The soldiers opened fire in response. The silence of the valley broke into chaos. Enemy snipers had been waiting for them to camp. Ravi took cover behind a rock and ordered the team to spread out. We are under attack. Defend your position. Leo barked and ran to Ravi's side, staying close. Adil radioed for backup, his voice steady despite the danger. We need support. Coordinates same as last report. The fight continued for several minutes. Ravi aimed carefully and fired. 2 enemies fell, but more kept shooting from the cliffs. Suddenly an explosion shook the ground again. One of the hidden mines that they had missed had gone off on the far side of the valley. Smoke rose high into the air. Ravi's ears rang from the blast. He looked around and saw Adil lying on the ground, injured but conscious. Adil, stay down, he shouted. Then he turned to find Leo, who had run ahead toward the smoke. Ravi's heart raced. Leo, come back, the dog did not stop. His sharp senses told him someone was trapped under debris. Ravi followed, ignoring the bullets flying around him. When he reached the smoke, he saw Leo digging furiously. A soldier was buried under rocks. Ravi joined in and pulled the man free. The soldier coughed but was alive. Ravi smiled. You did it again, Leo. Before he could move away, another gunshot echoed. A bullet struck near his shoulder, throwing him to the ground. Leo barked angrily and charged toward the direction of the shot. Ravi tried to call him back, but the sound of gunfire drowned his voice. The brave dog ran through the smoke toward the shooter. Ravi watched in horror as Leo disappeared behind a rock. There was a short struggle, then silence. Ravi crawled forward despite the pain in his shoulder. When he reached the spot, he saw the enemy soldier lying unconscious and Leo lying beside him, wounded but breathing weakly. Ravi lifted him gently, holding him close. Stay with me, Leo. You are not leaving me now. Adil and the others reached him and helped stop the bleeding. Backup arrived soon after and the attackers fled. The fight was over, but the victory felt heavy. As they loaded the injured into trucks, Ravi sat beside Leo, pressing a cloth on his wound. The dog looked up at him with tired eyes and wagged his tail slowly. Ravi whispered, You are my hero, my friend. You saved us all again. Adil sat beside them quietly. His face was pale, but he smiled weakly. Sir, Leo saved my life too. I owe him everything. Ravi nodded, his eyes full of emotion. We all do. The trucks began to move back toward the base. The valley grew quiet again, the sound of engines fading into the distance. Ravi looked at the mountains one last time, feeling both pride and sorrow. The battle had ended, but Leo's struggle had just begun. The base was quiet when Ravi and Leo returned. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow across the barracks. Soldiers gathered to see them, murmuring with relief and admiration. Leo, despite his small injuries, walked beside Ravi with pride. Every eye followed the pair, as if recognizing the bond that had saved countless lives. Ravi was taken to the medical bay first. The doctors examined his shoulder wound, which was shallow but painful. They dressed it carefully. Leo was placed on a soft mat nearby. The dog's breathing was heavy, but he remained alert, lifting his head whenever Ravi moved. Ravi patted him gently. You are stronger than anyone I know, he whispered. Even after all this, you are still here for me. Adil entered the room holding a small bag of supplies. He knelt beside Ravi. Sir, Leo is brave. I have never seen loyalty like his. You two are more than a team. You are family. Ravi smiled faintly. Yes, Adil. That is why I wanted him near me before everything. I would not fear anything as long as he was with me. The next few days passed slowly. Ravi's wound healed and Leo recovered under careful supervision. The officers who had once doubted Ravi now sought his advice on mission strategies and safety. Ravi was grateful for the respect but remained humble. I do not want credit, he said. I only want to serve with honesty and protect those who cannot protect themselves. But the peace was short-lived. A new intelligence report arrived. The same area they had cleared was being reoccupied by enemy forces. There were reports of more traps and hidden weapons. Ravi was asked to lead a new mission with Leo once again. He knew the risk was high, but duty called. The night before departure, Ravi sat quietly in his quarters with Leo. The dog lay beside him, resting his head on Ravi's knee. We have been through so much together, Ravi whispered, but this mission will be dangerous. I need you to stay strong, my friend. We cannot afford to lose anyone. Leo lifted his head and looked into Ravi's eyes. His gaze was calm and steady, full of trust and courage. Ravi smiled faintly. I knew you would understand. We face this together just like always. The team left at dawn. The trucks rumbled along the narrow roads leading to the border valley. Ravi took the lead with Leo close to his side. Adil monitored the communication channels, ready to report any danger. The soldiers moved with caution, their eyes scanning every shadow. When they reached the valley, the tension was immediate. Ravi noticed small movements in the rocks. Leo stopped and sniffed the ground, growling softly. "Careful, everyone," Ravi warned. Leo senses traps again. Hours passed as they moved slowly, disarming hidden explosives. Leo's sharp senses saved them from multiple near misses. The team felt safer with him guiding the way, though every step was tense and stressful. By late afternoon, they reached the center of the valley. The ground was uneven, covered with loose stones and debris. Ravi crouched beside Leo. "Something is different," he murmured. The dog's ears twitched, his nose to the wind. Suddenly, a hidden mine exploded near one of the soldiers, throwing dust and stones into the air. Everyone was startled, but no one was seriously hurt. Ravi checked the area carefully, realizing the minefield was more complex than before. Leo barked loudly, alerting the team to another trap hidden beneath rocks. Ravi and the soldiers worked quickly, using Leo's signals to find and deactivate the explosives. Just as the last mine was disarmed, a series of gunshots erupted from the cliffs. Enemy forces had hidden snipers. The soldiers ducked behind rocks, returning fire cautiously. Adil shouted into the radio, calling for backup. Ravi held Leo close, guiding the dog to safety behind a large boulder. "Stay with me, Leo," Ravi whispered. "We are not finished yet." The skirmish lasted for several minutes. Enemy forces were strong, and the soldiers realized that retreat might be the only safe option. Ravi made a decision. "We need to fall back slowly, keep Leo close and protect each other." As they moved, another explosion shook the ground. One of the soldiers was trapped under falling rocks. Ravi ran to help him. Leo followed immediately, barking and growling to keep the enemies away. Ravi lifted the injured man just as another explosion went off. Dust and stones fell, and for a brief moment the world seemed filled with chaos. Ravi turned to ensure everyone was safe. Leo was still by his side, but the dog's paw had been injured by debris. Ravi knelt and examined it. "You are hurt again, my brave friend. I need you to stay strong. I cannot lose you." Leo licked his hand gently, as if reassuring him he would not leave. The team managed to retreat to a safer area, but they were surrounded. Enemy snipers had cut off their escape routes. Ravi knew they had to act quickly. "Adil, cover our left. Soldiers, follow my lead. Leo, stay close." Ravi moved forward, carefully scanning the terrain. He spotted the snipers hidden behind rocks and signaled to the soldiers. Leo moved silently beside him, alert and ready. Together, they cleared a path through the rocks. Each step was dangerous, but Ravi's courage and Leo's instincts guided them. Suddenly, a grenade landed near the group. Ravi shouted, pushing a soldier out of the way. Leo reacted instinctively, moving toward Ravi and protecting him with his body. The explosion rocked the ground and dust filled the air. When it cleared, Ravi looked down to see Leo lying motionless. His eyes were closed and blood had stained his fur. Ravi fell to his knees, horror gripping his heart. "Leo," he shouted, holding his companion close. The dog's chest moved weakly, but he could not stand. Tears streamed down Ravi's face. He pressed the dog to his chest, whispering words of love and comfort. "You saved me again. You were always my hero. Please stay with me, my friend." Adil and the soldiers reached him, trying to help. Ravi refused to let go. "Do not touch him. He is mine." The team respected his wish, giving him space. The backup finally arrived, and the remaining soldiers were evacuated safely. Ravi held Leo in his arms, carrying the injured dog to the truck. The ride back to the base was silent. Ravi sat quietly, cradling Leo. The dog's breathing grew weaker with each passing moment. Ravi whispered to him, telling stories of their missions, their friendship, and the bond that no one could break. When they arrived at the medical bay, doctors worked quickly. Ravi stayed close, holding Leo's head in his hands. But the wound was severe, and despite the doctor's efforts, Leo could not be saved. The brave K9, who had stood by Ravi through every danger, closed his eyes for the last time. Ravi sat in silence, tears streaming freely. He held his friend and whispered, "You were my family, my brother. I will never forget you." The loss was immense. Adil placed a hand on his shoulder, offering silent support. The sun set over the base, painting the sky in red and gold. Ravi had survived the mission, but he had lost the one who had saved him more than anyone else. The bond between man and dog had ended in tragedy, leaving a sorrow that would never fade. The base was quiet after the mission. Soldiers moved slowly, their faces reflecting the sorrow of what had happened. Ravi sat in the medical bay, staring at the empty spot where Leo had once rested. The loss of his partner weighed heavily on him. Leo had been more than a K9. He had been his brother, his protector, and the truest friend he had ever known. Adil entered the room, holding a small folder. He placed it on the table. "Sir, there are messages from the officers and your fellow soldiers. They all want to honor Leo. He saved lives today. He deserves recognition." Ravi looked at the folder but did not speak. His eyes were filled with tears and his hands trembled slightly. "Adil, he did not do this for recognition," he said softly. "He only followed his instincts. He saved me because he loved me. That is all that mattered," Adil nodded. "I know, sir, but people should know about his bravery. They should remember him." Ravi took a deep breath and opened the folder. Inside were letters, sketches, and photographs. Soldiers had drawn Leo running, standing guard, and working alongside Ravi. Each page told a story of loyalty, courage, and love. Ravi felt a small smile appear on his lips. For a moment, he could see Leo alive again, running through the training fields and wagging his tail. The commandant approached quietly. He had come to offer condolences and guidance. "Ravi, I cannot undo the pain," he said softly. "But your courage and Leo's sacrifice will be remembered forever. We will honor him with a memorial here at the base." Ravi nodded. "Thank you, sir. That is all I ask. Make sure the new soldiers know the story of loyalty and bravery. Let them learn from him." Later, Ravi walked toward the memorial site with Adil. The base had set up a small statue of a dog standing tall, ears alert, and eyes focused. Beneath it was a plaque that read, "In honor of Leo, the loyal K9 who served with courage and love." Ravi knelt beside the statue, his hand resting gently on the stone. Tears flowed freely down his cheeks. "Goodbye, my friend. You were the greatest I have ever known." Soldiers gathered silently, some standing with their heads bowed. Even those who had never met Leo felt the weight of his sacrifice. Ravi stood slowly, placing a small bouquet of flowers at the base. Adil stood beside him, offering quiet support. The wind blew gently, as if carrying Leo's spirit across the base. The days that followed were difficult. Ravi continued his duties but often found himself thinking of Leo. He trained new K9 units and spoke to the soldiers about loyalty and trust. He told them how a bond could save lives and teach lessons that no book or lecture could. One morning, Ravi visited the kennel where Leo had spent so many years. The new dogs ran and barked excitedly, but none were Leo. Ravi knelt, remembering the hours he had spent training and working with his companion. "I hope you are proud of us, Leo," he whispered. "I will carry your lessons with me for the rest of my life." Adil joined him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Sir, you saved lives today, just like Leo. You were brave and loyal. He would be proud of you." Ravi nodded, his eyes scanning the kennel. He could see the new generation of K9s and felt a small spark of hope. "Yes, we must continue his legacy," he said. "We must make sure his courage lives on in every mission and every soldier." The months passed. Ravi continued to serve, but he carried Leo's memory everywhere he went. Every time he led a mission, he thought of the dog who had been by his side through danger and darkness. He spoke to his fellow soldiers about loyalty, bravery, and trust. Leo's spirit inspired them all. One evening, Ravi stood alone at the memorial again. The sky was painted with the colors of sunset. He knelt, placing a small dog toy he had carried in his pocket. "This is for you, my friend," he said softly. "Even if you are gone, your spirit stays with me." Adil stood nearby, silent and respectful. Ravi looked up at the sky. The wind brushed against his face, and he imagined Leo running freely across open fields, safe and happy. He could almost hear a bark in the distance, a reminder that Leo's courage and love would never fade. Ravi finally stood, wiping his tears. He knew life would continue, and though the pain of losing Leo would always remain, the bond they shared would guide him. Every mission, every decision, every step he took would honor the dog who had saved him more than once. At the base, soldiers often spoke of Leo. They told new recruits stories of the K9 who had run through danger without fear, who had protected a man with his life. and whose loyalty had touched everyone who knew him. Leo's memory became a lesson, a symbol of bravery and love that transcended words. Ravi watched from a distance sometimes, seeing soldiers train with new canines. He smiled faintly, knowing that though Leo was gone, the lessons of loyalty and courage lived on. He had been given a second chance, and he vowed to make the most of it. Years later, Ravi would often visit the memorial. Each time he knelt, he felt the presence of his loyal companion. "I did my best, Leo," he would say. "I lived for both of us." The wind would move gently through the trees, and he imagined the soft thump of a tail and the quiet bark of a friend who would never truly leave him. In the hearts of all who served with him and Leo, the story of the soldier and his K9 became legend. A tale of injustice overcome, bravery tested, and a bond unbroken even by death. It was a story that inspired generations, teaching that loyalty, love, and courage could change lives, protect the innocent, and leave a mark that time could never erase. Ravi finally understood what it meant to lose something precious and yet find strength in the memory of that bond. Though tragedy had taken Leo from him, the dog's spirit remained, guiding him through every challenge and reminding him of the power of loyalty. In the quiet moments, when the sun set over the base and the wind whispered through the trees, Ravi would close his eyes and see Leo's eyes looking back at him, bright, brave, and full of love. And in that memory he found peace. The soldier who had once faced death unjustly had survived not alone, but carrying the spirit of his truest friend. And though the world had been cruel, the bond between a man and his K9 had proven stronger than any darkness. Ravi stood, his heart heavy yet filled with hope. He touched the memorial one last time, whispered a soft goodbye, and walked away, knowing Leo would always be with him, guarding him, guiding him, and reminding him of what it meant to be truly loyal and brave.